Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to another session of DSP. So in previous session, we were discussing about computational accuracy in DSP implementation, in which I think we discussed regarding how the signals and coefficients are represented in DSP processes. They'll be represented as numbers. And when I'm speaking of numbers, how the representation will go around, whether the numbers have to be represented in, say, for example, fixed point format or whether they have to be represented in floating point format. And when we are speaking of representation, another thing which comes is what is the range of the range that the representation displays, and what is the precision that is required, or what is the precision that will be presented by the format which is represented. So those all things we had discussed, and apart from that, representation of numbers depends on so many stuffs. So few of them we have mentioned over here, that is range of coefficients and signals, precision of coefficients and signals, hardware complexity that is involved, and what is the speed requirement. So in that, again, we discussed a number format system for n-bit fixed point format, and we discussed regarding what is their range. So if it is n-bit fixed point format, this is the range, and if it is n-bit fixed point fraction, this is the range. And we had discussed how this fractional representation goes around. So that is yesterday we were discussing regarding these all stuff, and you can just observe that it is 2 raised to minus 1, 2 raised to minus 2, and so on. That is, there is a implied binary point at this location. That is, just before this, there is an implied binary point. You can see that the weightage of 2 raised to 0 is depending on the sign symbol. If s is equal to sorry, depending upon the sign. If s is equal to 0, this will be 0 dot whatever binary number is there. If it is 1, then it will be minus 1 dot the number. Therefore, the range, you can just observe that range is from minus 1 to 0 point some value, depending on how many n bits are available. So depending on that, this entire thing will be defined. So that's why the range is from minus 1 to the plus zero point 0 some, whatever number you will be able to represent. So that is the range we had checked out. And we had seen one problem on how what will be the range when particular size is specified. That is, if these many bits are being utilized, so what will be the range for that particular case. I think even we discussed regarding this one, double precision. So see, previous one, what we discussed, we can specify it as single precision. Single precision n bit fixed point format, single precision n bit fixed point fraction. This is for integer, this is for fraction. If this n is doubled, that is, instead of n bits, if I make use of 2n bits, that format is termed as double precision fixed point integer or fixed point fractional format. So this also we discussed yesterday. So what happens when we double the precision? We are basically doubling the size. So since we are doubling the size, we require double the amount of memory to store as compared to the single precision format, fixed point format. Then what are the advantages? We are basically increasing the range of representation, but what is the disadvantage? You are you are requiring to use or utilize more storage space, or more memory is required to store the number as compared to the single precision format. And uh, and apart from that, we discussed another point, that is, it would require double access time if same bus is utilized for accessing as that is utilized for single precision point format. So if same bus is utilized to access single precision for point format, if I'm using the same bus to access the double precision point format, it would take double the amount of time as compared to the single precision point format. So I think we had discussed up to this point. So let us move further. So next one comes is floating point format. So let us see what is a floating point format, what is the representation, how it goes around. So it is basically made up of two parameters. That is, one is called the mantissa and the other one is called the exponent. Now you regularly you might have seen that you write some of the results as 2.1 into 10 raised to 2, something in this form, or you might be writing as 0.12 into 10 raised to minus 3. So these representations, what you see is, it is nothing but this is the mantissa part, and 0.12 here is the mantissa part, and this one is the exponent part. Now, since the number is represented in decimal, right here, the example what I'm showing, it is represented in decimal. Therefore, the exponent is in terms of 10. That is 10 raised to whatever value exponent value is present. This is 10 raised to minus 3 is the exponent value. So this is the base of that number system what you are using. So if it is a decimal, it will be 10 raised to. So again, if you represent it in binary, it will be 2 raised to. So depending on how it turns around. So when it is binary, the numbers will be either zeros or ones. So it will be like 0, 1, 1.11 into 2 raised to 1 or 2 raised to minus 1. So here this is the mantissa part, and this is the exponent which is represented. So this is the exponent value. This is the exponent value. So this is the base of that number system what you are representing in this case. I cannot have binary numbers like this one and I make use of 10 raised to minus 1. So I am assuming that this is binary. If this is binary, I cannot write it like this. It should be written as 2 raised to whatever exponent value is present. So we'll be having two parts in floating point number. That is, one is mantissa and the other is exponent. So we represent it as mx and ex. If I'm considering that I want to represent the value of x. So x for x, mx is the mantissa part and ex is the exponent part. So when we look at that, how it turns around. Therefore, x can be represented in what form? X will be represented in this form, mx 2 raised to ex. Why I'm considering 2? I'm assuming that this representation which is there, it can be in binary, or we'll just check out how it turns around. It will be in binary generally. So here, if I have to write it, say for example, I have a number, so which is a binary number, say something in this form. So that I'll just take a simple one. So I have a binary number 10 and 10. So there is a decimal point over here. This is 1010, which is a binary number. Now, how do I represent this one in floating point format with mantissa and exponent? So I have to make some conversions in this and then represent it in that form. So in simple, this thing, if I just have to represent in very simple form, uh, whenever we are writing some number, right, say 21.1, say it is 10 raised to 0. So this is the number. I want to represent it in terms of say exponent. So what I'll do, I'll shift this one. So if I write the same number in this form, what I do, I write it as it in this form. That is 0.211. That is this number itself is represented in this form into 10 raised to 2. Both the numbers are same. What you're doing is you are adjusting the decimal place and you are adjusting the exponent value. So here it was exponent value was 0, 10 raised to 0. Therefore, exponent was 0. Now, if you make exponent 2, this will be the number how it will be represented. Now, the same number, if I represent it as this one, that is, this is 21.1. If the same number, if I represent it in this one, then it will be like 10 raised to minus 1. So it is depending on how you are adjusting. So this one turns out to be the mantissa. This one turns out to be the exponent value. So here, if I have a number in this form, if I have to represent the same way, I move ahead. Since this is base 2, right? What happens is, suppose I write this number as 0.10 and 10. Then what happens is, similar how you do in a decimal, right? The same thing. So two places you are moving ahead. So it will be 2 raised to 2. Now, if you want to represent the number 1010 by moving the decimal place in the other direction. So that is, I want it to be written in this form, wherein this is the mantissa. But what happens is, since you're moving at the other point by 2 locations, it will be like 2 raised to minus 2. So that is what you try to establish in floating point representation. That is x is represented in mx and 2 raised to ex. Now, why a floating point number? Now, what happens is generally in DSP, this thing you have observed that you are doing multiplication, you are doing summation. For example, in convolution, you can just see, and it is repeated. It's a repeated process. So something of accumulation also is happening over there. So what happens is when the summation of large number of products, that is in convolution, you have seen, right? You write it as h of 0, x of minus m plus h of 1, x of minus m plus 1. So you write it in this form. So what is happening? These are all products. These products, again, what you're doing, you are adding. You are adding all the products which are present. So when you do that, what happens is you might require more number of bits to represent the signal when you are going, say, for the previous kind of representations, that is fixed point floating, fixed point integer, or fixed point fraction. So in that case, it will pose some problems. Now, if you just generally consider, if you're just multiplying, so if you multiply 10 into 10, what happens is I'll get a 3-digit number. If I multiply, say, 100 with 10, what is happening is I'm getting a 4-digit number. So you can see that this is 3-digit, this is 2-digit. So maximum possible, it can be, say, doubled. So that is maximum, say, 33. If I just take what is happening, so I am having how many? 5 decimal places. So this is 3, this is 5. So generally the size, I guess it would be around n into n minus 1. So depending on how many decimal places are present over there. So here what happens is whenever and apart from that, apart from multiplication, what we are doing is we are adding the numbers. So when we add the numbers, it turns out that the number of bits which are required to represent these calculations or these numbers would be very high. And generally for any given processor, whether it is a microprocessor or a DSP, this thing, you have some fixed number of bits to represent the numbers. So within that, this thing, I have to fit the result. So if this is 8 bit, right, I should try to fit that result within the 8 bits. If it is exceeding, then I should inculcate some logic and try to see how I adjust the answer. So I have to do all these things. So in microcontroller, I think you have done all these kind of estimations wherein you are multiplying two numbers and you are assuming that when you are multiplying 88 bits, the largest possible is 16 bits. So these all things you are doing over there. So that's why representing the numbers in floating point becomes easy, is necessary. I would say not easy, it becomes necessary. So then apart from that, what would happen is if I made use of the previous, that is fixed point format, I would be, I might be losing some of the information. Say whenever you have some number, right, whether binary or decimal, uh, it is always feasible to lose the LS bit instead of the MS bit. So this won't make any difference if the number is, say, 48 bits are there. And last one, whether it is 0 or 1, if you're just discarding one bit, it doesn't make any difference. So if it is necessary. But in some cases, what happens is the precision also might depend on this. The accuracy of the result also might depend on this. So depending on the application, what you are looking after, you have to see that whether I'll be able to adjust the answer within the provided number of bits or not. If not, then is there any other way wherein I can preserve the precision, preserve the accuracy, and still get the better result? So when if I'm not using floating point number, then this becomes difficult. So if floating point number is not utilized, then you require huge amount of memory, which is generally not feasible in many of the applications because memory is costly again. I cannot invest large amount of money in memory itself. So that is another reason why floating point number can be utilized. Now, why this turns out is each of the processor architecture will be having some restrictions. That is, if the processor is capable of operating with, say, 16 bits, it will be operating with 16 bits. So, but if you have some number which might not be sufficient with the 16 bits, then I have to inculcate some logic or some architectural modifications to incorporate those changes. So with the given processor, how do I do the logical estimations which are present over there? So that is what I try to look after. So processor architecture imposes the problem on providing huge memory also. So because it is having some restrictions on the number of storage bits which it can operate, or how many number of bits it can be able to store in the data memory or program memory. It depends on all these stuffs. So these are just a few things to name around. So that's why floating point number representation becomes important. There are different kinds of representations which are possible. In that, one of the important representation, that is floating point representation, is related to IEEE format. One is single precision and one is double precision. And here we'll be discussing regarding single precision IEEE 754 format. So here, so before going into that, let us see what happens when we want to obtain a product of a floating point number. So it is simple. You just say try to compare it with your decimal multiplication. So you have 2 into 10 raised to 2. So this is one number, and you have 3 into 10 raised to 2. So if I want to multiply this number, then how do you multiply? You multiply these two, that is 3 into 2. That is, these are the mantissa part. These are the mantissa part. And what you do is you take the exponent and you add them. So if you want to multiply or obtain the product of two numbers, right, in floating point, you multiply the mantissa part and you add the exponent part. So that is what you are doing over here. So when I do that, this is how it will be represented. So this is x is say for example I had taken it as 2 into 10 raised to 2, and y is 3 into 10 3 into 10 raised to 2. So here what is happening? Mx and my both are getting multiplied. And since we are, I have taken it as 10. So here it is considered that they are in binary. They are in binary. That's why this is 2. So in this case, we had 10 raised to 2 plus 2. The concept remains same. So this one is because we are assuming that these are in binary format. Since processors deal with the numbers in binary forms only. So we have to multiply the mantissa and add the exponent to get the product of the two numbers. Now it contains what multiplier which will be required for the mantissa and adder for the exponent. That is, these are the two hardwares which are required. If you speak in terms of hardwares, right, you will require a multiplier hardware, you will require a adder hardware in order to establish the multiplication. Now, in addition, an addition of floating point numbers requires normalization. So what does this imply? So now here we spoke about multiplication of the product. Now here we are speaking about the addition. So what does this imply? Now if I want to add two numbers, right, it is not straightforward when we are dealing with floating point numbers. So one extra overhead which comes is normalization. So this is actually a kind of overhead or say problem with dealing with the floating point numbers. In multiplication, I don't have that problem, but in addition, I'll be having that problem. So how do I add the floating point numbers? So before adding, what I should do is I should normalize them. So what does normalization imply? Say if I consider decimal number, I'll just be considering decimal number, but all the equations and the other stuffs which are given are in terms of binary in your case. Just for simplification process, I'm just dealing with, I'm representing with the decimal numbers. So I have to add something like this. I have to add the two numbers plus 3 into 10 raised to 3. I have to add these two numbers. Now here you can see that one of the powers is 2 and one of the powers is 3. Now can you directly add them? Can I just say 3 plus 2 and present the direct, say it is 10 raised to 3? I cannot do that. So if I normalization, what it implies, you either make the powers equal. The powers equal. So it will be like, say I'll keep this one as it is, 2 into 10 raised to this one. And this one, what I'll do is, I'll represent it as 3 into 10 raised to 3 can be represented as 10.3 into 10 raised to 2. Now what is happening? 10 raised to 2 and 10 raised to 2. That is, exponents are equal. So this process, what I am doing is the normalization process. Normalization process. I am normalizing this 3 into 10 raised to 3. You can normalize even this value and make this as 10 raised to 3. Even that is possible. So if I do that, it will be 20 into 10 raised to 3. So you are normalizing that. So now what I can do is, now I can add the numbers directly. So it is like a general this thing. So 10 raised to 2 is common, both the numbers. So it will be like 2 plus 0.3. 10 raised to 2 is common. So the result will be 2.3 into 10 raised to 2. So this is the result what we'll be obtaining after the normalization process. So this is what normalization implies. So in addition, just remember, when we are using the floating point numbers, we have to normalize the numbers so that the exponents are equal for both the numbers or all the numbers what we are adding. So this has to be done so that the numbers to be added have the same exponent. That is what I showed here. They should have the same exponent. Either of them, you normalize it. So then single precision floating point format, which is IEEE 754 format. This is regularly used whenever you are dealing, say, with computer aspects. So you are writing some program, so you are writing some number in that, and you are analyzing it. So how they are stored in the memory? Possibly it is using this format. It is storing the data in this format, but it will be stored in terms of zeros and ones. So now let us see how it what is the format for this one. So remember, this is single precision floating point format. It is also termed as IEEE 754 format. So let us see how it appears. So this is a single precision format. So in this one, what we have, the first one is the sign bit. Next 8 bits will be representing the exponent, and next 23 bits will be representing the mantissa part. And what is assumed is implied means it is the assumption what you have. It is a universal assumption in the IEEE format what I'm representing over here. That is, you have an implied binary point here. Binary point in the sense, this part what is there. So if I represent, right, it will be like 0 1 1 0 1, something in this form. So implied, this is the binary point. So after this, whatever number is there, that will be in the mantissa part. That will be in the mantissa part. So we'll look at an example later. So you have sign, which is 1 bit, exponent is 8 bits, and mantissa is 23 bits. Now, when we this is single precision. Now, when we go for double precision, right? Double precision, we are not dealing over here. Double precision, sign bit is 1. Mantissa takes 11 bits, and this one takes around 52 bits, I guess. This takes around 52 bits. So if this is 52 bits, you can imagine what might be the range. What might be the entire range in that case. And implied binary point stays here itself. So this is the fractional part, what is present. Now here, one thing to just remember is, suppose you have some number like this. You have some number like this. I cannot directly store this information here. So here also you have to normalize. You have to normalize such that there is with IEEE format, right? There is an implied one in the MS location. There is an implied one in the MS location. That is this number which is there, right? It should be represented as 1.1110000 into 2 raised to uh, 2 raised to plus 1. So this is how it is actually represented. There is actually an implied one that is not specified over here. There is actually implied 1. This number, what you're getting, that will be stored here. That will be stored here. And this is the implied binary point. So single precision for floating point format, sign bit, exponent 8-bit, then mantissa is 23-bit, and there is an implied binary point at this location. The value which is represented in the above format will be in this form. So what it takes after, you can just see. I want to check out, or how I want to read out what is the value of this entire thing. So how do I read out? It is -1 raised to s. So this is the sign bit. So if you just observe, s can be either 0 or it can be 1. If it is 0, it is -1 raised to 0, which turns out to be 1. And if it is 1, right, it turns out to be -1. So what it implies? 0 implies positive, -1, 1 implies negative number. So s can be either 0 or 1. 0 is positive, 1 is negative. So that therefore it is -1 raised to s into, since this is all represented in binary format, right? So if I want to know what is this number, I have to convert this number to raised to this bias value, whatever bias is there. So if all the 8 bits are 1, all the 8 bits are 1, then it will be around 255. So it will be like 2 raised to 255. If all the bits are 1, if all the bits are 0, it will be 2 raised to 0, because E bias will be 0. Now, why this is not actually E bias, it is E minus bias. This E minus bias, because all the concepts are not specified over here. So what does bias imply? That is another stuff. Now here, I'll just explain a little bit briefly of this one. So before that, we'll just complete this part. So here, x value, it is -1 raised to s, e raised to e minus bias into, you can see that there is a 1 dot f. That is, this entire thing which is there is nothing but f value. So this is the implied binary point we are speaking of. So before f, you have an implied binary point. So when you want to retrieve it, this is how you retrieve the information. Now coming back to this part. So this is how the number will be represented. -1 raised to the sign bit into e 2 raised to e bias, that is whatever e value is present over here, and then 1 dot f. Now one interesting thing what we have to look out is here, why it is e minus bias here. It is not e bias, it is e minus some bias value. What happens is, now previously we saw that the exponent value 2 raised to, I can have a positive exponent or I can have a negative exponent. Now what happens is, representing positive exponents is pretty easy, but what should I do when the exponent turns out to be negative? When the exponent turns out to be negative. So in that case, I cannot add to the complexity of this representation. That is, take 2's complement and then go ahead. So it becomes again tedious process. So here, instead of taking 2's complement of -1 and storing it over here, what is done is you first try to see what is the range. What is the range? For example, if you just observe, if n is equal to 2, n is equal to 2, what will be the range? Range will be possibly around, say for, in this case, it will be 2 minus, it will be from -2 to 1. It will be from -2 to 1. The range will be in this form. Now, what you're doing in this case is you try to normalize this value. You try to normalize this value. So whenever you want to store this information over here, what they do is, here the bias would be 4, 2 raised to 2. I'll be able to represent 4 numbers, right? I'll be able to represent 4 numbers. So in this case, right, when n is equal to 2, the bias will be 2 raised to 2, that is 4. So what they do is, they take that bias. So before storing in the exponent part, they add that bias to that number -1 plus 4. So what happens is it turns out to be positive. And if it is positive, you add 4 to this, what would happen is it would turn out to be a 2 raised to 6. So something in this one. Those the 6 information will be stored over here. So that is what you are doing here. So what you are basically trying to do, based on how many bits you are utilizing to represent, right? Based on that, you decide the range, and based on that range, right, you try to add the bias. So if I think n is equal to 4, you are able to represent numbers from I guess 16 to you'll be able to represent up to, that is -16 to 15. So in between you'll be having the 0. So whatever negative values are present over here, if I want to eliminate them, then what I do is I add 16 to all these values. So if the exponent is -16, I add 16, so it turns out to be 0. If the exponent is -15, I add 16 to this, it will be 2 raised to 1. So what you're doing is, before storing in this location, right, or before storing it in this part, you are normalizing that value. You are normalizing it. So here you are normalizing it by 16. If it is 5, you will be normalizing it with 32. That is before storing. Before storing, you will be adding plus 32 to that and then store here. So here, what is happening is now, say for example, I have stored 2 raised to 1 over here. Say I am making use of n is equal to 4. Therefore, in our case, when n is equal to 4, I have a bias of 16. I have a bias of 16. So when I have a bias of 16, this number when I want to retrieve, its original, this thing was how much? 2 raised to -15. Its original exponent value was -15. And while storing, I had added the bias and then stored as 1 over here. So when I want to get back the original information, right, I take it as 1. Whatever bias I had added, I should remove that bias. So it will be 2 raised to -15. So that is what E minus bias specifies over here. So that is done basically to avoid the negative exponents. So this is universal rule in this format. So if you are accessing IEEE data format, right, this is what is happening in this case. And here, another important thing to remember is 1. So there is, the number has to be represented in this format. That is what example I gave. Suppose I have something in this form. This, if I want to store over here, let me assume that this is positive number. So if it is positive, then what happens is this will be 0. But before storing this information, I should represent the number in this form. And I should have the bias available. I should have the representation available. So in order to do that, what you do, 1, 2, 3. And so it should be in this form. So it will be 1.00110. So there is a implied 1, there is a 0. That is only up to this point I am moving, and 3 locations you have moved. Therefore, what you have to do is you have to multiply by 2 raised to 3. So exponent value is 3 and the mantissa part is 00110. This one, depending on what bias is there, that bias you take, that exponent value you store here, this value you store here. So that is what you are trying to do. So this is like 1.f into 2 raised to e, but while storing, you add the bias. That is what you're doing. So this is the floating point format representation.